Thank you to my followers for this really great question. How do I store my herbs for Chinese soups and teas? The key question you need to answer around storage is humidity and temperature within where you're keeping them. The more humid and hotter the environment, I tend to use the fridge more for ingredients like dried seafood and dried fruits. Whereas in drier conditions, it's perfectly okay to keep a lot of them out of the fridge and just in your regular pantry. Let me show you. I've essentially got 3 places where I keep my herbs and ingredients. The first is really in here. It's a higher cupboard where I just store everything. I will usually need a chair to get up. So these ingredients are the ones that I use less and are used for replenishing the ones that I use more frequently. In this cupboard, it's primarily my dried fish maw, my dried mushrooms, dried snow fungus, black and white, and more of the nuts. And I've got an inventorized list of what I've got here. I just have way too many and I keep buying them. I can't stop. The frequently used pantries in here. And here's where I tend to store the commonly used ingredients for both soups and teas. I'll tend to keep my dried flowers, beans, barleys on the lower one and the soup ones on top, but this is really personal preference. And what I really love is how they're labeled. I love putting them in glass or transparent boxes so that I can see how much I've got and the condition of the herbs. And finally, what I do keep in the fridge in Canada is my dried seafood. All the dried scallops, the various sizes, and dried shrimp. But if I'm in Hong Kong or a more humid place, I will also keep dried fruit where there's a little bit of moisture, such as dried longan, dried red dates, and dried wolfberries. Here are 8 tips to get you started. Store in a dry and moisture-free environment, separating each herb clearly. This will help prevent mold and cross-contamination if some of the herbs happen to have bugs in them. 2. I store all my herbs in transparent containers, bags, or jars. This is so that I can see the condition and how many herbs I've got left. 3. I will label all my herbs. This is with a name and likely purchase date, if possible. 4. I will use up all the herbs in that container before I replenish. This is just to be sure that I'm controlling and managing the batches and that they're fresh. 5. I will do a yearly inventorization and cleanup and fill up. 6. A really nice tip is to just observe how the seller's also storing them and selling them. If they're selling them in the dry aisle, perfect, so can you. If they're selling them from the fridge, that's something you can think about as well. 7. Keep a simple inventory, especially those where you have so many herbs and you can't see them readily or easily. For me, this is so useful. It's because I have way too many and I'm not even sure what I have sometimes. And 8, try small batches first. Some sellers allow you to buy by weight, so just try a few and see if you like them, and then you can commit to more bulk. Most of the herbs you can keep for a really long time. It will surprise you on how long the shelf life can be. In Canada, I find that these herbs can store for a really long time. If you have any comments or tips, leave them in the comments below. Happy soup making, and I'll see you next time.